thanks for tuning in. I am Nicola of Nicolawmakes. Today I am going to be talking about my top tips for beginners. It's in line with the Specky Seamstress. I saw a post that she had put on her Instagram a few weeks ago now, just looking for people to collaborate and do some videos about what their top tips are. So I'm going to come to you with my 10 top tips. These tips are both from myself, and I also asked my mum for a few of her ideas as well, as we're both relatively new to sewing. So straight in at number 1 is YouTube. YouTube has got a video for everything. Be it how to sew a zip-in, how to do a seam, how to do princess seams. If you don't know the answer, YouTube it. There are so many knowledgeable people. You'll get pattern reviews if you don't know that a pattern's for you. You'll always find somebody, there's people of different ages, different shapes, sizes, who have tried out the patterns, who have done it in various different fabrics. YouTube is the way forward. It is how I've learned to do so much of my sewing. Yeah, I've really learned from YouTube. So definitely in at number 1 is YouTube. Number 2 is your unpicker. This will become your best friend when you're learning to do your sewing. I think you need to accept that when you're learning to sew, you are going to make mistakes. You will need to undo some of your hems and your seams, and just to accept it, be calm about it. Don't stress about the fact that mistakes will be made. You don't learn at the end of the day if you don't make mistakes. Every sewer needs an unpicker. In fact, I think I've got about 5 or 6. So that is definitely my number 2. Number 3 is a bit of a strange one. It's one that my mum had suggested, but I'm in total agreement with it. Is getting your own measurements is really important if a pattern's going to work for you. And go by your own measurements rather than the size on the back of a pack that you would normally buy in a shop. I typically seem to measure up at about 2 or 3 sizes higher than what a shop bought top would be for me. The actual tip though is to get somebody else to measure you. That way you know that your measuring tape is completely flat across your back. You know that it's in the right places, and you'll get a much more accurate reading. And also to try and measure yourself as often as possible, especially if, like me, you've been on diets or you've been going to the gym trying to lose a wee bit of weight for your holiday, and then you come back from holiday and you put the weight back on and your body changes constantly. Making your own clothes, and one of the reasons I make my own clothes is because I don't feel confident in the clothes that I buy from the shop. And I find buying clothes that fit me properly, that I like, that are in fabrics that I like, really improves my confidence, and you'll only get a good fit with your sew size if you've measured yourself properly. So if you can, get somebody to measure. I quite often, when I go and stay at my mum's house, we'll both measure each other up so we know what size we both are at the minute. Number 4, and this is one where I should really be practicing what I preach, is buy the correct fabric for the pattern that you are making. On the back of patterns, they will always have suggestions for fabrics. I'm just going to grab one, if you bear with me. So this one here, which I think I've spoken about before, that I am going to make, has got suggested fabrics, usually down at the bottom, somewhere on the back. And there's usually 5 or 6 different fabrics. If you want a pattern to work, go with the recommendation on the back of the pack when you start. Once you've got a feel for what the pattern's like and how it sews up, then you can start experimenting a wee bit more. But certainly as a sewer, as a beginner sewer, I would recommend sticking to the fabrics that are recommended before you start playing about with them. As I say, I should practice what I preach. I've made a few Ogden camis, and I have to say the material I used for the first few wasn't the recommended material, and it didn't turn out very well. They've frayed, they've not kept their shape, and I suppose that's probably because I've just went rogue and used whatever fabric I really liked. Tip 5, and it could be deemed as a wee bit controversial, shall we say, is I find that the indie pattern companies tend to have better instructions as opposed to your big 4. I really like Tilly and the Buttons. I really like Cashmerette. The True Bias Ogden's amazing as well. In fact, I would say all of the independent companies, the smaller pattern companies that I've used, the patterns have been clear. They've had really good photos about when there's been any tricky steps. They've had really good photos to show you what you should be doing, what they're meaning. And I really find that they're just a bit more in depth, a bit easier to understand. Your big four patterns, like, I guess they're not as wordy, and they assume that you've got that knowledge and understanding of sewing to be able to go forward with it. Number 6 is a phrase you will hear very often, and that is measure twice, cut once. Again, it's something I need to practice what I preach. I have made a kimono before and ended up with 2 left arms because I've not double checked which way my patterns are lying and if I've got the direction of the pattern the right way before I've cut. So just be really sure before you start cutting your fabric out, just be really sure that you've got your pattern pieces in the right way, in the right direction. You've got it in line with the grain, you've got your grain line going the right way. The more you double check, the less chance there is of making a mistake and getting it right the first time. I'd say that's really important. Number 7, I'm mixing my numbers up a wee bit on my notes here, is to do twirls. You get a nice cheap fabric. You get cheap fabrics online. There's a few websites where you get some cheap fabric online, or quite often in market stores you'll find some cheap fabric. Do a twirl, try it out, then you'll see what kind of adjustments you need to do. I'm quite big busted and I've got decent sized hips and backside as well. So you'll be able to see how a pattern sits on you, whether you need to do a full bust adjustment or anything like that, and get it right before you cut in to your nice expensive, it doesn't always have to be expensive, but your nice pretty fabrics with the clothes that you want to wear going forward. So I'd say again, I don't make enough of them. I quite often will just cut into the fabric that I've got because I'm too excited to try the pattern. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I find stretch fabric is a bit more forgiving if I'm going to do something like that. Number 9 is a walking foot. I love sewing with stretch fabrics and jerseys, but they can be a wee bit slippy when they're coming through your machine, and a walking foot just has a set of your dog feet on the top and it feeds both pieces of fabric through at the exact same time. It makes it a much neater finish. It means your fabric goes through and your pattern pieces stay together as they should, and therefore your seams and your hems are in just the right place. I have found it an absolute godsend, one of my first ever makes. Again, you could probably call me a bit optimistic making it, was a Cashmere Appleton dress. There was quite a lot of sewing in it, especially having never made any item of clothing myself before. So me and my mum went through it. Again, the instructions were fantastic. They had lots of pictures, they had lots of explanations. But having the walking foot and having the speed on the machine set right down to slow while I was going through it really helped me get to grips with it. Number 10 is washi tape. I have various different kinds. Again, I'm just going to sit up and get it for you. I got this set of washi tape from the pound shop for £1, shock horror. But you can get it online, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it in the pound shops, you can get it in supermarkets. I tend to use it for marking out where my seam allowance is on my sewing table, and I put a really long strip of it so that I can feed the fabric across and down, and it doesn't go out, it doesn't go over the seam allowance. Sorry about that. That was Lewis shouting to see if I would play Snakes and Ladders. So I'm going to make number 10 a really quick one so that I can go away. It is 6:30 at night and he's wanting to have a quick game before he goes off to his bed and starts chilling out. Last but not least, relax and enjoy. Sewing is my sanctuary. It is my salvation if I've had a stressy day, if my anxiety's playing up. Sewing is where I get away from it. I can concentrate on something and not think about outside the sewing room. I can relax, I enjoy it. I get to see a lot of the time when you sew something up, you can see the product really quickly, you see it coming together, you get a real sense of achievement. And for me, that it helps your mind, it helps your mindset, it helps your mental health. I think it's really important that everybody has something to focus on and something that de-stresses them and that they enjoy and that is their thing. I can come in here, although as we've just seen, Lewis likes to always make me aware that he's about. But it's my salvation, it's my thing, it's what I do, it's where I go for peace and quiet, it's what I enjoy doing. I think there's a massive conversation to be had around mental health, especially at the minute. And I think everybody needs to find their thing that they enjoy and that de-stresses them. And for me, that is sewing, be it sewing clothing or sewing quilting. Just relax, enjoy yourself. You'll find what kind of clothes you want to sew and what you enjoy sewing. For me, I don't really like making things like your vest tops and your t-shirts because I've got them. I can get them quite easily, I can get them quite cheaply. I enjoy making dresses and skirts and outfits and statement pieces using really nice fabrics in different patterns. And that's what's for me, and you'll find what you enjoy sewing and what gives you the results that you want. As I say, this was in line with a series from the Specky Seamstress, so I am going to pop a wee link below to the Specky Seamstress, and I'll pop a wee picture up of how to find the Specky Seamstress on Instagram and YouTube. Do tune in. I have learned a lot from the Specky Seamstress and various other YouTubers as well. Again, on YouTube you'll find the right vlogger for what you're looking for and what you enjoy sewing. There's people of different ages, sizes, and they talk about different kinds of things that they make. But the biggest one is just relax, just enjoy it, be your own sewer, sew what you want to sew. You don't have to sew for other people. There's no such thing as selfish sewing. Do it for you, enjoy, learn from your mistakes. There will be mistakes. Mistakes aren't always bad. And reach out to other people within the sewing community. If you've got anything you'd like to ask me, anything you want to know that I can help with, please do just get in contact. I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions if I can. If not, I'll point you to somewhere that might know the answer for you. Thanks for tuning in. If you don't already subscribe, please subscribe below. And I'm also on Instagram if you want to follow me on Instagram, where I'll post up some pictures of things that I've been making recently. Thanks, bye!